So settle in. If you don't know where you are, if you don't know who you're with, my name is Andrea Luzon, a legacy liberator. I stand for mothers, especially in coming home to their identity, reclaiming who you're meant to be in this life. So standing in your truth, rediscovering that truth. I do have clients of all walks of life, but my biggest passion is mothers of neurodivergent children. I'm a mother of an ADHD symptomatic child, and it's been quite the self-rediscovery journey for me. So just know that there's someone out here in the world that's holding you high as you walk this path, as you move through life. And I think a lot of us are interested in reawakening that inner truth and having our outer experience reflected from our true inner experience. So kind of stepping out of the inner turmoil and coming into that inner truth and having that reflected in your outer experience. Okay, so there's our intro for our session today. Today, we're going to be shifting into renewal and rebirth. And I'm going to guide you on a journey to reawaken that aspect of you today. You'll notice the sage smoke. Allow yourself to settle in. I've got my back pushed up against the back of my chair. My feet are flat on the floor. You might want to stand. You might want to lay down. You might want to curl into a ball. You might want to cover yourself with a blanket. You might want to put on a warm sweater, but just do what feels good, because time that we give ourselves in really coming home and listening to that inner voice, that is where the awakening starts. That's where the re-empowerment begins. We ignite ourselves. We kickstart our engine once again. So I am gently wafting this sage smoke up and down your body. Up and down your body. It's nice and gentle. If you've never been saged before, just imagine that it's this nice, gentle ambiance. And the power of the sage is really about clearing. It's about clearing any stuckness or any tension that you might have brought into this moment. We're really cleansing that, setting it aside for you to pick back up when we're done, if that's what you would like. But we're really letting that tension melt off of you. Allowing the smoke to kind of permeate the body, cleansing you, bringing you fully into this moment. And I even invite you to lift a foot and envision that I am taking that smoke up and down the bottom of your one foot, cleansing the sole of the foot that might have tracked in some of that muck from life. And then set that foot down and then lift up the other foot and imagine me coming over next to you and wafting that sage smoke up and down that foot and clearing any muck, any tension that was tracked in. Letting that just melt off of you. You're doing great. You're doing so wonderful so far in this moment. So now to shed a little bit more of the muck. If you feel like standing, that is great. If not, I'm simply going to guide you through a little bit of some shaking. So for those of us that want to stay seated, that's okay. Allow yourself to begin shaking your hands. So just simply shaking your hands. You can do this from any position. If you're in a chair, I invite you to push your feet into the floor and kind of flex your thighs and make yourself hop up and down a little bit. And the microphone doesn't always pick it up, but if you could kind of flutter your lips, sort of like a horse does when it's talking to you, that also is going to be so good for you energetically. Shake your head a little bit. I like to shimmy my shoulders, right, left. Yes. If you can get your knees into it and shimmy from the knees. Beautiful. You're doing so great. You're doing so great. You can do the hip. We're going to open up our hips a little bit. You can still do that from lying down or sitting. My invitation to you, no matter where you are or what your position is to tilt your pelvis up, like taking your mons pubis, the bowl of your pelvis, and pointing it towards your nose. So you're rocking the hip. It's almost like a tummy crunch. So you're taking your hips and you're going like this. You're pointing your pelvis up. Awesome. Okay, so now I want you to tilt your hip to the right. Excellent. Now I want you to stick your chest out and put your butt out. So we're like, excellent. And now tilt your hips to the left. Excellent. And now we're going to create sort of a rolling sensation. So pelvis up, your pelvic bowl tilting up, pushing to the right, tilting your butt up, tilting your bowl like you're dumping out the bowl now, and then tilting to the left, and now up, scooping up from the front. So now just allow yourself to make circles. And I'm going to stand upright. It's again, you can do this from your chair. You can do this from the floor. So allowing yourself to really tilt back, tilt to the side, and then scoop up. Awesome. Notice your breath. Let yourself breathe in and out. Maybe you want to go faster. Maybe you want to go slower. And now I invite you to switch directions. So scooping up to the front and then shift to the left. And then dump out the bowl and then shift to the right. So allow yourself to do the same rotations, but now you're going the opposite direction. You need to pause and shake it out a little bit. If you get a cramp or anything, that's okay too. Yes, outstanding. Okay, well done. Just so you know, the intentionality of this movement is to wake up the lower chakras. So rebirthing, this is really about belonging and how connected you feel to the earth, to yourself, to being here on the planet in this body shape, form, mind, spirit, all of that. So what we're doing is we're enlivening this lower area by simply doing this pelvic bowl tilt. Outstanding. So it's kind of starting from the core, from your solar plexus. Sacral is your belly button area, and then down into the root. So the tailbone, the bottom of your spine. So allow yourself to stop or keep going, switch directions again if that feels good. And to wrap up, we're just going to do a couple last shimmies. And I saw a couple of us on the floor. That's totally fine. So just allow your whole body just to shimmy a little bit. And again, those horse lips are so good to relax the face. So awesome. Oh, okay. So what we've done is we've woken up the spine a bit. We've woken up the lower chakra system, and we've saged and done some clearing, really to get us here in this moment. Okay. We get to step in fully to whatever renewal and rebirth looks like for you today. So now I invite you to get into whatever position feels comfortable, and we're going to explore a little bit of some guided visualization together. So floor, chair, crisscross applesauce, whatever feels good for you. Okay. Get out any wiggles. Get yourself nice and situated. So eyelids can be open or closed at this moment. I'd love to share with you a little bit of the inspiration for today. So where I live in the middle of the United States, spring is coming. Spring feels very present right now. We're having a bit of a warm spell. I'm in the garden, which is being from northern areas of the United States. There's still snow on the ground in those places. And I'm from that place where gardening doesn't start until June 1st. So I have been really enjoying looking around where I live and seeing flowers blooming and seeing trees beginning to bud. There's just so much magic in springtime for me. And as I'm looking around, there are even some plants on my property that look like, well, a week ago, they looked dead. They had lost all signs of life. And yet when I start to look closer, or when I let a little bit of time pass, as I observe the plant, I start to see something different. I start to see potential. I see the plant having a yearning to live, a strong desire to live, to keep going, to start anew, to start fresh. And that is really what brought forward this experience with you today, is that there are times in our lives that we are like the tight bud on the plant, and it takes some energy to open and to let the sun in, to receive light, to receive the goodness of the people who love us. And maybe we haven't been willing to be vulnerable with them. We've just been staying tight in this bud. Like, I'm not sure if I want to keep going. I'm not sure if I want to open up and receive light or receive guidance or receive support. This is the discomfort that I know. So I'm going to stay in this tight bud. I'm going to stay closed up. And yes, we can explore that. And my invitation is to not stay there forever, to not stay in that state of closed off forever. That there's an opportunity for us to open, for the bud to begin to flower, and the more we open, the more light we let in, the courageous vulnerability. That's really the invitation here today, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to open up. It takes courage. It takes fortitude. It takes tenacity. It takes sticking with it to really allow yourself to open. And I also have been thinking a bit about you might have heard of the broken pottery art form from Japan. It's called kintsugi. And the pot is broken intentionally. A potter, a ceramicist, will break their pot. And then they will bring it back together and fill in the cracks with this beautiful gold metal, which brings the viewer's notice to the cracks. And the intention is to celebrate the cracks, to celebrate the fact that we have had hardship, that our heart has broken, and that with sticking with it, with the fortitude, with desire, with the receiving support, we begin to put the heart back together. And then that gold, it sparkles and it makes you the unique expression that you are, because of the ways that there have been some falling apart. And then we come back together. And I love the quote, "The cracks are where the light gets in." Just saying that out loud makes me feel emotions bubbling up. You know, the cracks are where the light gets in. And that your rebirth is unfolding right now in this moment, if you let it. You are renewing yourself right here, right now, in this moment, simply by being the unique expression that you are, simply by taking your next breath, just by you allowing your heartbeat to continue, by allowing your chest to expand and contract, you are renewing yourself. Your cells are always dynamically changing. We are always giving ourselves another opportunity for life to come in. You're here right now. You are in the rebirth. You are in the reawakening. I invite you to visualize a rose bush. Maybe it's short, maybe it's tall, maybe it's slender, maybe it's wide. But I invite you to notice the glossiness of the leaves. I invite you to notice the strength of the branches. Let yourself see how the roots go down into the earth, how they branch out. How the roots know where to go to find nutrients, to find water. Allow yourself to witness how the roots are actively right now in this moment, bringing nutrients into the plant, bringing nourishment, bringing water into the root structure. And see all of that nourishment move up through the plant into the branches until you notice a bud. On the tip of one of those branches, you notice a bud. You notice the color that is poking out at the very tip. And you see the green sepals tightly enclosing that bud. And as the nourishment enters the bud, you feel a strong compulsion shift into the bud. And you can feel those sepals beginning to open. They're becoming energized. The petals begin to feel light, poking into the top of the bud. And you notice that the rose is yearning to receive more of that light. And the petals begin to open. Each petal unfurls, almost a light spinning motion. The inner petals begin to open wider and wider, spreading out, receiving the sunlight. You notice that the color absolutely glows. You love this color. You love the joy that it's bringing to your face, the smile that it's bringing to your lips. You are reveling in the renewal of this plant, this one flower. fully expressing itself. And as you gaze upon this flower, you begin to notice an image coming out of the flower itself. It might be a word, it might be a symbol, it might be a picture. Whatever you notice coming out of the center of the rose, it is a message for you and only you. Let yourself notice. Let yourself observe. Let yourself witness. Is there a feeling that is associated with this message? If there is a feeling, I invite you to look within your body to see where you're feeling this feeling. Notice where it is in your body. Maybe the feeling has a shape or a sound. Is it moving or is it still? Maybe it has a color. I invite you to give the feeling a voice. Let it share. Ask the voice, what do you need? We are asking the feeling. The feeling is using its voice. What do you need? Let the feeling talk to you. I invite you in this moment to give your feeling what it needs. Let your highest good support you in expressing in some way how you, in this moment, with just yourself, can give this feeling what it needs. I invite you to thank the feeling for speaking. Thank the human aspect of you for being courageously vulnerable by simply witnessing yourself through this experience today. Thank your highest good, your highest self for being with you. Your highest self is always ready to hold sacred space for you as you unpack any feelings that arise in your life. It is always there to witness you, to support you being courageously vulnerable. So giving gratitude to both aspects of yourself, giving gratitude to your heart for being the center point where the human and the higher self come together. A unity experience right in the middle of your chest. Breathing in that highest good awareness. Breathing out. Breathing in your human self-awareness. And breathing out. So I invite you once again to let your inner eye see the rose. See the rose bush. See the root structure. See the power, the beauty, the elegance, the grace, the imperfections, the challenge, the hardship that this rose bush has gone through to be here. And yet it comes back to its roots. And it comes back to allowing itself to express, unfurling the petals, allowing the messages to come from within, to come from below, and to come from above. Gaze at the flower. Notice anything that came through that flower today. And know that you can always come back to this rose bush through the power of your breath, through the power of your inner eye, through the power of the culmination of your human self and your higher self. You can watch, you can observe, and you can powerfully unfold another one of the tight buds and help it come alive. Help it experience a rebirth. You can always witness it as it curls in and then opens up. And then perhaps another day it feels curled in and you simply witness. Perhaps it simply wants to be witnessed in that curled in state, and that's okay. And perhaps it's ready to open, and that's okay. So thank the rose bush. And when you're ready, begin to blink open and close your eyes, your eyelids. And I love to invite a smiling breath. So I encourage you to allow one of your breaths to be with the corners of your mouth lifted, guiding the face to find joy. And sometimes when we find the joy on the face, it moves down throughout our body. So I invite you to try the smiling breath. If you've been here before, you know that it's fantastic if you have paper and pen nearby. If you have a journal, if you want to go get one right now, I fully support you in that. If you're watching the replay, just pause the video and go acquire a notebook Across the top of my page, I love to write momentum ritual. And today we explored rebirth and renewal. And maybe you like to write the date, so I invite you to do that if that feels good for you. So our first question today is, did you experience an image or a message from the rose? Did you experience an image or a message from your rose? And I invite you to write a little bit about that. And it's perfectly okay if that wasn't what came forward from the exercise for you. For some of us, it will look different. And that's okay. So write what did come forward for you. Did you notice tension? Did you notice resistance? Did you feel guided? Did you allow the inner eye to explore? If you did allow the inner eye to explore throughout that guided visualization, what did you see? What came forward? Allow yourself to write about that. Pushing pen into paper powerfully allows feelings and intentions and a sacred self-witnessing to occur. I've explored this exercise before. For me, this is the second or so time that I have seen music notes come from the inside of the rose. And to me, the message that comes through the music notes is it's really about play. It's really about play and also self-expression, using my voice, singing, being playful, speaking my truth. Yeah. And so maybe that message resonates for you today, that as the rose expresses itself, that perhaps there's some wisdom there for you to encompass into your life, or to simply to allow to come through you. Our second journal prompt for today is, what feelings arose and what message did they have for me? What feelings arose and what message did they have for me? And maybe the feeling isn't the message from the rose. Maybe the feeling was just this whole exercise. Or maybe the feeling is just about life right now. But allow yourself this time to press the ink or the lead into paper and write about feelings that are coming up for you. And let the feelings speak to you. What is the message that the feelings want you to know? What do they want to express? The third question: what did the feelings tell me that they need? What did the feelings tell me that they need? Sometimes we might have to use our imagination, especially if you're new at this kind of exercise, at this kind of exploration. Mm. And our last question, the fourth question: what am I called to rebirth and renew today? What am I called to rebirth and renew today? For those of you who would like some support, some additional guidance, you can stay after in our Zoom room. If you're wanting to meet us next month on the first Monday of the month, reach out to me, or you can go to andrealuzon.com to get added to the email list. And everyone who is on that email list gets a special sacred invitation to the recording room. We hang out afterwards if you'd like to go deeper and be heard about what came forward. What are you rebirthing and renewing today? Also, if the timing doesn't work out for the first Monday of the month in the morning, for those of us in the US, that's what time it is right now. But if that timing doesn't work for you, go to andrealuzon.com and click the book a chat button. And that would give you a full 60 minutes of my time to bridge the gap in whatever challenge you're facing right now. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? Are you interested in bridging that gap? And would you like the support, the guidance, and the accountability to move that forward? So I see some people that are getting ready to sign off, and it has been such an honor to be with you today. Such a gift. Those of us in the Zoom room, we're going to stay a little longer, and just let me know how this landed. Let me know what was the message that came forward for you. Were there feelings that came up? Did those feelings have something that they want you to know? Did those feelings communicate to you what they need? And then are you going to engage with that? Are you going to move into that and hold space for them? That's everything for today. My name is Andrea Luzon, Legacy Liberator. Thank you so much for awakening your freedom within.